Anyway, so welcome on my behalf to our today's webinar. We will talk about the practical use cases of marketing automation. Let me share the screen so we can all see that. There we go. All right, so practical use cases of marketing automation. My name is Reetta Sairanen, and I'm the Customer Success Manager working at Liana Technologies Asia. And my main role in here is to make sure that customers are well onboarded and get most out of the tools on hand. So that's why I feel like also the marketing automation topic will be quite an interesting today. Also, I'm happy to tell that I have Jonna Seppänen here, our Managing Director, who will share more about these possible practical examples of marketing automation. So thank you for coming and taking time from your busy schedule. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Reetta. So my name is Jonna Seppänen, and I'm Managing Director here at our Asia office. I've been with Liana for several years, and regarding marketing automation, I've been probably in one way or another involved with all the marketing automation cases that we have worked with here in Asia especially.
There we go. So before we let Jonna speak, let me go through the topics of today. So we will start with talking about customer journey, and we will showcase our customer journey chart and just kind of give you some things to think about when you are planning to start your marketing automation or whether you're tweaking your marketing automation. But knowing your customer journey and where do you want to focus on is very important there. Then we will move on to the lead generation part, where Jonna will tell more about how to generate the leads and what are the most practical cases on this sense. Next one will be about lead nurturing. So how do we then, after we have captured these leads, these prospects and customers, how do we nurture these leads so they will repurchase or actually join us as a loyal customer? We will also tap into omni-channel marketing as well. So we will talk all the channels that marketing automation can tap into. So not only social media, but SMSs and print media as well. Then to wrap everything up, we will also talk about the reporting and data visualization and the fact how important it is to go back to the reports and see how well your automation has been performing and if there's something that you could tweak to make it perform even better. And after summary, when we go through everything that we just talked about within on our presentation, we will have a Q&A session. And so if you have any questions to us, please do send them during our presentation on the question box in the control panel on the panel, and we will go through them afterwards. Hopefully we can answer to all of them, but if we don't, we'll make sure that we will cover your question privately at the very least. Now, before I let Jonna actually to speak, I would like to ask a question from you, our dear attendees. So let's get this poll onto the screen. So are you currently using any marketing automation? Very simple, yes or no. So we know a little bit, are you a new in automation sector, or maybe you're already well experienced, and maybe we can then tweak our presentation a little bit for you, even though it will be very general overall. All right, I think we have 70% has been voted already. If you didn't, well, we have one more question coming, so be ready for that. But it seems like most of you have not or are not using any more marketing automation at the moment, but there are still some more experienced people. So let's let's go with this information. Jonna, stage is yours. Let me just have presentation. Again, there
Thank
we
you.
go.
Thank you, Greta. Yeah, it's great that we have a mixed audience. Hope to address also those who are already using marketing automation, and hopefully you get new ideas as well. Really going through, especially those ideas that we usually go through with customers who are at the beginning of their marketing automation journey. Before we go into marketing automation, a few words about us, Liana Technologies. We are a cloud-based solution provider for digital marketing and PR. We have offices in Europe, where we are headquartered, as well as Middle East and here in Asia, with over 330 professionals. Our customers are really all over the world. We have over 3,500 customers in over 30 countries. We have quite a long history, but started in 2005 and being fortunate to win quite a few awards throughout the years. One of them mentioned here is the Deloitte Technology Fast, which we've been on for 8 consecutive years. Then a little bit more about our tools and our solutions that we provide to our customers. And we often like to showcase it on this digital marketing journey, customer journey that goes from awareness to evaluation, purchase decision to loyal customers. There are lots of different touch points along this journey, and we have quite a few different solutions to address kind of those needs and those points. Other than marketing automation, we also provide solutions in more traditional email marketing, as well as we do websites and e-commerce sites, in addition to communications side on PR and media. But looking now more closely to the marketing automation and the touch points there. Usually when we start, we look at which parts are those for you that really require heavy manual workload. Where do we know enough about the customer or prospect to better target content for them? And maybe most importantly, when would our customers or prospects like to hear or are ready to hear from us? The benefits of marketing automation are really many, but they include, of course, better targeting, not just hoping for that click, but to help you to get and utilize data, help you to better know your subscribers and your audience. Time saving, of course, you can, for example, nurture your leads without really even thinking about it. And a lot of personalization, not just content that is tailored to specific segments, but also getting the timing really right and getting the customer the information or the prospect the information at the right time when they want to see it. Looking at a few of these touch points, very popular, for example, blogs and websites to get to maximize that content that you have created there, to get it to as many people as possible. We're going to be touching upon that. Social media is very, very popular, especially starting point for these journeys. And another one is web stores. Marketing automation is really used a lot in a world of e-commerce. We have shopping cart reminders, thank you messages. There are multiple upselling and cross-selling opportunities with automations.
Yeah, so as Jonna mentioned, there are endless options and choices what you can do when it comes to marketing automation. And actually, the customer journey is also supposed to help you to kind of pinpoint where your pain point is. So depending on your company size, maybe you're still creating awareness and you would like to focus on the awareness stage first, or maybe you're already well-established company and you have realized that, oh, we're not taking enough care of our customers, so maybe you want to focus more on loyal customer. And once you know this starting point, what you want to focus on, we can then start finding out what would be a suitable automation for you there. But Jonna will now go more detailed into this.
Yes, so today we will show you really some practical examples. So of course, what kind of automations will be the most beneficial to any given company really depends on your situation, on your industry, whether you work in B2B or B2C. There are lots of different deciding factors, what type of automations would work. Typically our process starts by looking at the situation with the customer and kind of looking together what those points might be. We've gathered here for today 10 automation concepts that often are discussed. Not all of them, of course, will be probably applicable to you, but I hope there's something, usually something for any type of customer. There is an example here. We group them into kind of the process. So there are automations that are more for the lead generation, then lead nurturing, and then the onboarding and customer success phase of that customer's journey, as well as some other general examples that are often used in marketing automation. So then we can start by looking at the lead generation stage. So as it applies, it's the very beginning step, generating those leads, getting as many contacts as you can. And marketing automation really is a great tool to help you with that process. Step one in generating leads, most companies are looking for this in their marketing efforts. And to get leads, you of course first need volume of people to find your site, and advertising, and especially Google Ads, is a great way of doing that. And Liana Automation can help with that. We are a Google partner, and our marketing automation is integrated with Google so that you can do your Google Ads directly from the marketing automation interface. And it really benefits you because you can also add your own customers into their Google Ads segments, and the automation tool will help you with this process. There are some volume restrictions when it comes to Google sites and using Google Ads. So these are typically more suitable for companies that have a bit larger volumes. Then lead generation and looking at website visitors, and we're starting to move from kind of lead generation to lead nurturing. We have the visitors on the website, and of course here very important is to recognize them. So one way or another, we do need to recognize those visitors so that we can then continuously target them as well. And there are multiple ways really to recognize them and get that connect the person who is there so that they're not anonymous. That can be done by landing to the website through clicking the newsletter. It can be a different download, white paper downloads work really, really well in that. There can be different competitions or parts where you can sign up on the site, so then that user can be catched. Or then chatbots, for example, so often the visitor might share their contact information on the chatbot. The great thing about utilizing this is that even if you don't catch the visitor during their first visit, once you do get that recognition, then you can also look back and you can utilize that information, then kind of the data that you have collected about that user once you got their email address or that recognizing information, so that you can utilize it going forward.
Yeah, so also in this case, we have a lot of customers or prospects who would like to start nurturing or generating the leads from social media ads and paid advertising. But the most important thing always before you can start doing automation is recognizing the leads. So it's not enough that someone clicks your ads or visits your website, but somehow, as Jonna mentioned, you have to capture the email and some information of them so you can actually start automating messages and targeted messages to these people.
Then moving to lead nurturing and kind of seeing what we can do and how marketing automation can help to move that customer along from the lead stage to the customer stage, or prospect in this case. And we have a few practical examples to share here. First of them is drip campaigns, and drip campaigns are very popular with marketing automation, and really kind of sending timed messages at the correct times to get that customer engaged. Practical example here is, for example, doing a drip campaign after a white paper download. So as you can see here on the left in the example, when the customer downloads that white paper, they will join a mailing list, and then we can start targeting them. Usually, of course, sending the message with the white paper. Then typically there are wait times, and then you can start seeing the customer's behavior. For example, have they clicked on the selected links that you have in the email, and then you can choose what content you want to send to them after you see whether they have clicked or not. And then once you have reached, once everyone has clicked, then they follow back to the clicked path. So that is something that is very powerful in marketing automation. So you can actually start gathering data along the process. Of course, creating this content for these different newsletters is something that often comes up, and it's a question that gets talked about quite a bit. And that actually leads me to the next slide and topic, which is blog posts. And a lot of companies make great effort in generating new content by creating blog posts or news and on their website. And these can be really maximized in several different ways. We can automate the process so that every time there is a new blog post, for example, that gets also sent out to the selected segments, if not the whole subscriber base. And in another way, if we are using drip campaigns, like in the previous example, we can use RSS feeds so that those messages that get automated always have the latest content. So, for example, one of the messages can include always the latest blog post. So then you don't have to manually use time to make sure that those latest contents are there, but we can set it up for you so that they automatically always are included.
You might also create little blog posts from the different topics, and sometimes these topics can be actually like a world apart. So having like a tags on your blog post, you will be able to then detect, oh, this blog post is more about marketing automation and this blog post is more about PR, and then having these automations that the people who are interested of PR will receive the PR blog post, and people who are actually interested of the marketing automation will then receive the marketing automation post. So this is more into the detail of the automation world that customers also like to do.
Then we move to customer onboarding, and this is the part of the customer journey that is often a bit overlooked, I would say. So we just have gotten the sale and what can go wrong, but actually there are many opportunities here to stand out as a company at this stage to really kind of lay a good foundation for the customer satisfaction and loyalty going forward. And again, marketing automation can really be utilized here in many ways. The first example here is from customer onboarding, quite a straight process and very often used. So when the customer has made the purchase or subscribed to the service, then there can be an automation chain to provide them with more information, to welcome them, to congratulate them from their good choice that they have made. And here we often look at the data, the previous data. Often companies do already know what type of questions might come in after the purchase is or the subscription is done, depending on the offering, and what type of information the customers need after they have started using the product or service. And in this example, for example, after the purchase, there's a first message sent, and then there is a scheduled message every week for the first 4 weeks. And each message has more information for the more detailed information about the service for the customer. And of course, also then the later messages can have upselling and cross-selling opportunities in there. Although often the rule of thumb here is that this really is more the good content for the customer rather than a direct sales channel.
Yeah, so this is a stage where you can do super like amazing work when onboarding a customer and they really like you and they feel like they are being cared and their questions are answered before they have time to ask the questions. However, I've also seen cases where companies goes too much into sales process here. So that also can create very negative feedback from the customer, and they will have a negative opinion of you already from the start, and that is very hard to then turn back into a positive outcome. So very good automation, but you have to really think how to create the additional value for the customer instead of making them annoyed by you trying to upsell or cross-sell something right away.
The next example is then much more complex, also onboarding automation chain though. This is a customer case from a actual customer, one teleoperator from their B2B business side. And the below image there with the marketing automation is the customer's vision of their customer journey and their different customer segments and the touch points that they have along that journey. And above that is an image of our user interface where we have built the marketing automation flow based on the customer's idea. And the goal here is, of course, to achieve better customer experience and also to create cross and upselling revenue during this process. Here, the automations are based on the customer type. So there are pre-made segmentations. This customer being teleoperator, they have quite a lot of different types of offerings. So they provide subscriptions as well as hardware and other products. There is a welcome message, but also activation chains, because some of the subscriptions especially need a sign-up, and it is looking that the customer actually does that sign-up before it starts providing more information. So it always knows what stage the customer is at, and then is able to send relevant information based on that stage. Of course, there's also upselling opportunities here. It depends what the initial purchase was. Those are always tied with that. So it can be, in this case, for example, headphones or phone cases if physical phones were, for example, purchased. They also do services, as mentioned. So there are different additional apps and services that can be upsold as well. And again, important, each message is created so that it has information that benefits the customer, not only purely sales messages. One of the segments here as well is automations to discontinued customers. So that is also an area that might sometimes get overlooked, but it is, of course, important to have the customer have a positive experience, even during that time when they are leaving, and creating as many opportunities as we can for them to return anytime. And then this process in itself, customers going through this funnel provides more data, and then it can further segment those customers going through the funnel. So we know then even more about them. And benefiting the customers, of course, here, the key, creating those sales opportunities. But we often also see in this customer onboarding process that it also benefits the company. It can reduce workloads, for example, from support quite a bit when timely information is given to the customers so that they don't have to contact you, but they already get that information at the right time. Then moving to a few other popular marketing automation use cases. First, I wanted to talk about omni-channel. And we often think about email when we think about marketing automation, automating messages via email, but there are actually quite a few other channels that can be used, and combining these can be really much more powerful than just using one channel. In the user interface, you can see you can easily select already if you want to send an email message or SMS message. Other use cases are, for example, sales opportunities. So we have scoring in the marketing automation tool, and you can generate, for example, scores to the users who go through the marketing automation funnels, and once they have interacted with enough messages from marketing, those can be pushed then to as a lead to sales departments, and then they already know good amount of that customer's interests that you have gathered with the marketing automation tool. When applications are used, push notifications can be automated as well. Google Ads, we already discussed earlier. And last point here is sprints, which is sometimes also very powerful and good time saver, but often a bit overlooked. So, for example, example here would be we have customers who have contracts, yearly contracts, for example, and that renewal can be completely automated and can take quite a lot of manual work away from the process. So often done with emails, but then once the contract is signed, and if it is a contract, for example, that needs to be signed, the customer can just automatically order that new contract from the automation renewal emails, and then that printed contract can be sent to them.
Yeah, there are several ways the customer uses sprints even today, and like we all want to save the paper, and we shouldn't be using that any extra than we have to. However, sometimes that just brings keeps out the little touch that you really pay attention to your customer. And one thing I wanted to also mention on this omni-channel when it comes to marketing automation is that a lot of customers or prospects get super excited when we mention that we can send push notifications to the mobile applications. But one thing that not everyone think on that at that point is that you have to own the mobile application. So we cannot send push notifications to someone's Facebook app just because we want. So if this is something you are planning or you would like to do, you have to look into building a mobile application yourself first.
Then a few words about personalization of your online store or website. And here we have an image of our imaginary test site called Decor AI. And there is a test customization here, the welcome message seen at the bottom of the screen. And in general, offering more personalized user experiences on site is something that surely we are more and more going towards, and these are being used quite a bit. And same in the world of e-commerce. For example, the ability to see products that are most likely attractive to you first on the site is something that can be automated as well, and is getting more and more popular. Then jumping to a much more practical and kind of example that almost anyone can use if they want to. Of course, this is a bit controversial and not something that everyone necessarily wants to do. However, many of our customers, especially those who have maybe previously sent more content-heavy and serious newsletters, have tested these with very positive results. So sending usually birthday messages, sometimes anniversary messages as well. So I'm not saying that it works for everyone, but it has worked very well for many of our customers, and often they are combined with some offering, some gift, or some discount. And then lastly, marketing automation in event marketing. I think all of you have seen this in action, even with this webinar. You have gotten emails about this. You will get an email after with the recording. And especially now with there being quite a lot of webinars and webinars are such that since you're not traveling necessarily, you might overlook putting it into your calendar. So it is very important to provide those kind of reminders and also give easy access to the listeners, so they don't have to go and look for the link and things like that, but they just get it at the right time.
Yeah, and also one good example on event marketing, even though it's not really anything that you need to know today. However, when we get back to the physical events again, maybe you have a private event where people have to buy tickets, and you can then automate these tickets to customers' emails and have a personalized QR codes that maybe they have also purchased food tickets at the same time. So this QR code kind of combines all of them. So very personalized messaging and personalized tickets, for instance, can be also automated with the marketing automation. And I'm going to jump in more in here as I'm in a customer success role and I deal with reporting quite a lot. And being able to understand and read the reports and data is super important if you want to be successful, well, in any kind of digital marketing, but especially in marketing automation. So our automation tool provides quite comprehensive reporting. This is on a very superficial level, so you can see all the automations that we have there. And on the right-hand side, you can see, for instance, the engagement level. Some of them are 5 stars, some of them has only 2 stars, and some of them has no stars at all. And maybe we could just jump into one of these automations which have 2 stars and see what message didn't work or what message did work. So we can see also more detailed level which message was the most engaging and on which message the customers actually dropped out of the automation. And then this is a good sign for us to either take the message out overall from the automation or actually tweak it to be more interesting or actually trigger some behavior in a customer. Our automation can also provide very customized reports. So these can be defined by segments. This can be defined by a campaign that you have done. Let's say if you want to measure the ROI of a campaign, a lead generation campaign that you have created, and you have actually started doing a paid LinkedIn advertisement, a paid Google advertisement, and then you have been advertising the campaign on your newsletters. So with this report, you could see from which source, what source was the most popular one, which generated the most leads. And let's say if we can now detect that LinkedIn was actually most promising source, we can put more money into LinkedIn next time and take the money out of Google Ads as well. So again, having the reports and looking at the reports is super important so you can tweak the automation. So even though you have this amazing automation in your mind, but it doesn't mean that it actually works in the practice. But the reports and data helps you to go and tweak those for you. And of course, Liana has the customer success team, which I'm also part of. So we can also help you to look into these if it seems a little bit too foreign to you in the beginning. Last but not least, our tool is also integrated into Google Data Studio, which will be able to generate even more detailed reporting, which would be demographics of the people who visit your website, the age group, or are they more male or female. And by knowing this, that you have more middle-aged male visitors, you might want to tweak your messaging towards more the male visitors than the female visitors, for instance.
And on this, actually, also the return that you can see, like return for your investment on the marketing is marketing automation is something that really gives you that data right away, and you can see what is working, what is not working, and how much revenue those efforts are bringing in very easily. So it's very effective in that way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A very good tool, effective tool when you know how to use it. Before we summarize, we have one more question to you, our dear audience. So if we can get the last poll onto the screen. Is it not working? All right, here we go. So if you are about to start the marketing automation, which one of the following steps would you focus on? So would you focus on the lead generation? Would you focus on the lead nurturing? Possibly the customer onboarding, or maybe something else? And if it's something else, please do let us know on the chat so we may be able to talk about that during the Q&A session. I'm gonna wait for a little bit longer to give a chance for everyone to give out the vote. All right, so on to the results. Here we go. So
as quite, I think quite what I expected, actually, what we've seen before. So lead generation is typically the area in our automations that has the most interest. But I'm happy to see that lead nurturing and customer onboarding also got quite a bit of interest. And then I would like to summarize to today's topic and kind of marketing automation. As mentioned at the beginning, the marketing automation process is really something that is quite tailored to everyone's needs. So these general ideas are often used, but the starting point, when we, for example, at Liana typically start the process with our customers, we look at your needs first and draw that map to see which automations would benefit you the most. And this process starts by defining the customer segments, and that process is then from there on ongoing. So data is very important to start with, and again to collect throughout the process, and really to identify the prospects and the customers, and keep defining and tweaking that process. So it can be quite it gives you a lot of data, but it also really gives you data to perfect the process, which is usually done throughout the time of the automation. Thank you very much. I think now we're moving to the questions and Q&A, right?
Yes. So again, thank you very much for joining and participating on the polls. So now if you have any questions for us about marketing automation or some functionalities around it, please do send the questions on a question box. If you do not have any questions, I do wish you a very lovely day. I'm going to wait for a little while before I stop the webinar, but right now it seems like there's not any specific questions, so I guess we have delivered very good presentation here in that case. Okay, we have one question from Luke asking if can we cooperate with large social media platforms to generate the leads. I would ask you to articulate a little bit more what do you mean by cooperating with platforms. Of course, as mentioned, you can have the paid advertising to generate leads, but having to cooperate is a different thing, to gather consumer data. Yes, well, of course, on every platform, a social media platform, you have your own data about the demographics and who are actually participating there.
Yeah, you can use social media and target advertising, and as mentioned earlier with Google, you can do it even directly from the interface to kind of catch larger audiences. And then we also do campaigns the other way around, so that then those basically for you to collect that, of course, not only for them to see information about your company, but then also for you to collect those people and their contact information, so that you can place them into your marketing automation funnels.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Luke here said, actually that he wants to gather the user's data to identify who are the potential consumer for you. So yeah, exactly. You can do this with Google Ads or Facebook Ads by selecting the target first and see whether that target seems to be attracted to your ads or not. If not, then we have to tweak the people you're targeting on the ads. But this is not really part of the marketing automation tool. This is the first step of lead capturing before you can put them into the marketing automation. Then we have a question from Chris. He's asking which of your services would be covered by the DBIS funding program.
We have, well, there's a part for e-commerce in the DBIS, so that is certainly applicable for the DBIS program, as well as actually marketing automation. So there is a category in DBIS as well that has funding for email marketing and marketing automation solutions. So those three out of our solutions are definitely applicable for the DBIS program. DBIS, for those outside of Hong Kong, is a Hong Kong specific program.
Yeah, government funding for supporting small and medium-sized businesses with their digital market. All right, well, it seems like it's end of the questions. If you have any other questions or any other, anything you want to ask us about, please go ahead and send me an email or send email to our info@lianatech.com, and we will definitely get back to you. I'm happy to help you with your journey on the marketing automation. Thank you again from us.
Thank you.
And hopefully we will see you on our next future webinars as well.